a reference point after now. We will always record our sessions, all right? We'll always record our sessions, but I'll give us more information on how we can access it. Now, for all of us here, everyone on this call right now, yes, every one of us on this call right now, you did not pay a dime to get yourself to this place. All you saw was the advert somewhere. Maybe a friend shared it with you, or you saw them on my own personal channels where I shared them, and you decided to be here. All right. I've seen questions like that. Oh, is it free? If it is free, oh, for how long? And all of that. Don't worry. Let's talk about money later when we talk about value first. All right. The most important thing, like I would rightly mention, is that there are opportunities out there. But if you don't know how to search for these opportunities as a data analyst, you're just going to get stuck in the situation. All right. You can also understand some of these tools, and yet you're not able to apply them in a real work scenario. Maybe that is your situation. For some of you, it is completely new to you and all of that. I mean, whatever status you are in the right place, and we're going to take everyone along as we proceed. But before I go on, I want to introduce someone on the call. Her name is Maureen. Maureen, just unmute yourself. I'm going to make you co-host now. Maureen is going to be serving as my teaching assistant during our sessions, okay? So it means she's going to assist. Sometimes I may not see some of your questions or comments on the chat. I may not also pay attention to the reactions you are having in the class. She would call my attention to those. She can also respond to some of the questions you have, but just generally, she's going to support me on this journey to manage the entire proceedings of the class. Maureen was part of our first cohort. All right, Maureen, can you give them a brief on your experience with the first cohorts that you were part of? Maureen, can you hear me?
Hello everyone. Yes, I
Awesome.
can hear you.
Good
Thank
one.
you. Hi, my name is Maureen Doss, and I'm a data analyst. So I'm supposed to give you all a brief recap of how the first bootcamp went. The first bootcamp was very, very educative. It was interactive and so much provided us with the knowledge we need right now to work as data analysts. So before you start this data analysis journey with us now, as we are starting it together, I just want to encourage us to just make sure we attend our classes and ask questions, because Mr. Stanley here, as much as we ask a lot of questions, he's always willing to answer those questions. So let's all feel free to attend our classes, because that's very, very important. Do the taxes we are going to be given, and then every other thing will just work out perfectly. That was just the summary of my last bootcamp. That was what it was all about. So
Awesome.
That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maureen, and thank you for being here to also support the training process as well. Now, she has said it all. The only thing I need from you is your cooperation. All right. I'll play my part as your instructor. I'll play my part to give you everything I know. All right. Teach you everything, basically everything that I know about data analysis. All right. But it is on you to also make out time to actually study, to practice, and all that. And I'll tell you, very simple, that the key to succeeding in any field, and not just in data analysis, in all fields, the key to success is just to practice, 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 practice. The number of hours you spend practicing will show in the type or in the kind or quality of work that you're able to put out there. And I did not mention earlier where I currently work. Now, I work as a business data analyst at this financial institution right now. And some of my experiences at work, I'm also going to be sharing with us so that we can just relate classroom experiences with real life scenario. All right. So I've used this, I've been in the space of the tech space for several decades now. My first degree was in mathematics with computer science. I have a master's in computer science and also a postgraduate certificate in technology, entrepreneurship, and design. I've been in this space since as long as I can remember. And one of the things that encouraged me all through is that I just had a passion for computing, for solving problems, not even computing, but solving problems until this passion started around 2003, 2004, right? That was when Facebook just came into the scene at the time, right? Facebook just came into the scene, 2003, 2004. Now, I learned of the guy who built Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, and I learned he built Facebook as a student while he was still in school. So he was quite a young man, but he was super smart and intelligent. And that left a lasting impression on me. And I looked at it like you can do great things from your little location, regardless of who you are, as long as you know how to solve problems using technology. All right. He solved social problems, he solved connectivity problems, right? And then they built a lot of graphs and algorithms around, search algorithms, connecting people to their classmates and friends from different walks of life and all that. And then I got inspired and decided to, you know what, I'm going to focus on computing from secondary school, junior secondary school, right? And then that was how I made my life choices up till this particular point. Now, there were very rough times where I didn't have a laptop, all right? Of course, you need a laptop to write your codes. You need a laptop to run your codes and all that, but I didn't have a laptop. So I was comfortable writing my codes on paper, all right, not knowing that whether they were going to run or not. I spent a lot of time in my school library at the time, studying computer programming books and all that. Until one day I saw an advert on my school gate. It was NIIT, right? And they were advertising Nigeria was going to turn 50 that year, 2010. So they were advertising their program, and they were going to offer 50 top 50 students at the exams. They're going to offer 100% scholarships. Now, I decided to take that chance. I know the program is very expensive. I know the program, is something that I cannot afford at the time. My parents will not even be able to afford it for me at the time, but I was willing to take the chances. So I decided to, apply. I wrote the exams. I made A plus plus in the exams. I was expecting, to be top 50 in the exams. There were tons, so many people participated in that exams. So, but they gave me my breakdown. Guess what? My breakdown was 162, no, 165,000. That was what I was supposed to pay as my school fees to learn Java programming language at the time. And I was mad because there was no way in 2010 I was going to be able to raise 165,000. That was a lot of money, right? That was a whole lot of money at the time. And I decided to, just give up that dream and that goal. I said, I'm going to learn this stuff. I'm going to learn it some other ways. All right. So, but my mom looked at me and said, nah, I've seen the passion you put into these exams. I see how serious you are with it, and I'm going to support your journey. I'm going to look for this money. However, I'm going to work for this money and all that. My mom is a teacher, and she decided to, all these teachers and their contributions in school, and that's how she was able to raise this money for me. Long story cut short, I I joined the class. I did Java programming, and that's how majorly my computing journey started. Now, for some of you, you hear, oh, how much is this cost? The cost is going to cost you 100,000 naira, and you just give up at that point. But if you have other needs, there are certain ways you raise funds, right? There are friends you could ask, to give you 5K, 10K. There are uncles or aunts or whatever. There are some kind of jobs you could take to raise us, here and there. These things impacted my life, and I would not tell you any lies. 165,000 in 2010 is over 1.6 million today in today's naira. All right. But we're able to pay, and that journey has been fruitful, life changing up to today. So I cut across different aspects of computing, all right, from programming, software development, web development, mobile apps development. But most recently, I've decided to focus on data, machine learning, AI, and stuff. That is where my core is right now. I have a number of academic publications around that as well. All right. So just to give us this sort of relief and encouragement that you don't have to limit yourself. Okay, you don't have to limit yourself. Money shouldn't be the reason why you not pursue your dream, you not pursue your goal of being a data analyst. All right, enough said about my story, enough said about the motivational speech. Let's get right into business. This is not your regular virtual session like you might have known it before now. This is not your regular virtual session. This is that session where it is very interactive. Maureen mentioned already, my classes are usually very interactive. So it means I can bump on you at any time and ask you to respond to a question. Don't feel embarrassed. We are all here to learn. Once we start writing or start doing some demonstrations, you will find out that I will make mistakes in writing some of my codes when we get to the part where we write codes, right? I'll make mistakes. It's all part of the process. All of us are learning, all of us are on a journey. So, right, feel free, be very vulnerable as you can in this class. Let's interact, right? The reason why I would call you and ask you is not for any other reason. I just want us to interact. Okay, I'm not just trying to target you to embarrass you. No. So I'm going to be going around the room randomly. I'll just call your name, just unmute your mic, and just tell us what you have known. Again, you will see that I'm not using a slide. My classes, I don't usually use a slide for my trainings. It's going to be very raw, very original. All right, we'll do scribble one or two stuff on our board, but it's going to be very raw and original. Okay. Yeah. So what have you heard so far about data analysis? When you hear the word or the words data analysis, what comes to your mind? I'll call on Rita. Rita, talk to us. When you hear the word data analysis, what comes to mind? Rita, can you unmute yourself? We don't have time. We don't have time. Okay, let me call Emily. Emily, please talk to us. When you hear data analysis, and if it doesn't strike anything, just let me know as well. I just want to feel the pulse in the room. Emily. And when I call you and you don't respond, I know you're not in class. I know you just logged in and you're not in class. Latifat, talk to us. Right, Latifat, I can't hear you. I think you're trying to speak, but I can't hear you. Just let us know on the chat. I think there's something wrong with your microphone. Let us know on the chat. All right. Let's hear from Tabitha. Okay, or you can try. Who was that? Somebody tried to say something. Who was that? Was that Latifat? Okay, Emily. All right, Emily, go on.
Okay, so the data analysis, like it says, is analyze is
So can you be a bit
analyzing
more audible?
data.
Sorry, can you be a bit more audible?
Okay, data analysis, like it says, is analyzing data, cleaning, working on sets of data arrive arrive at a at, how do I put it? To use it to answer some questions.
Using data to answer some questions. Exactly. Now, that is awesome. Thank you so much, Emily, for giving us that response. I mean, you're very spot on as well. But let's take more responses. Victor Bolanle, talk to us. Victor,
All right. Am I audible?
yes, please go on.
Yeah. For me, data analysis, I I got to know it when I was in undergraduate around 300 level. So the information I know about data analysis is that these big technologies, these big machines, and internet users generate a lot of data. So the companies are now looking at ways where they can extract insights to answer questions. For example, let's say a supermarket like WooCommerce or Jumia is trying to analyze who is the top buyer, or okay, like who is the top, what is the top selling currently that people are looking for. So that's my own definition.
Awesome. Okay, awesome. Thank you for describing your understanding of data analysis so far. Thank you so much, Victor. Rita, are you here now? Do you want to talk to us?
Okay, sorry. Good afternoon.
Hi. Go on.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay. Good afternoon. So I think data analysis, from what I got to know, is gathering information and trying to know something about a particular information, like they say data. I'm looking for a substitute the word data. I don't want to come with that word again, but trying to gather information about a certain subject matter, trying to analyze it and get to a conclusion regarding a particular subject matter. I don't know how to actually put it in a word that will be. But from my own understanding, trying to get information about a subject matter.
Trying to get information about the subject matter. Thank you so much, Rita. And that is also spot on. I see a hand up. Who is that? Christopher, talk to us.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Is a way of cleaning and preparing data, and also a way of visualizing and interpreting the data sets.
Awesome. Awesome. Cleaning, preparing data, visualizing and interpreting data. Thank you so much, Christopher. That is also well spot on. Now you can have tons of descriptions or definitions, right, based on your understanding. And trust me, your understanding so far, they are all excellent, right? They're all excellent. But data analysis generally summarizes everything you have mentioned, but I'm going to give us just a very simple definition of what data analysis is. Very simple definition. It's not a regular textbook definition, but a definition that you're going to hold on to, all right, as we progress in our conversation. Data analysis is the process of making or building intelligence out of data. Data analysis is the process. I'm going to write on the screen so that you can also take note. For those of us, I mean, it's not for those of us. I expect every one of us to be taking note right now, okay? Like I said, my classes are usually very raw and original, so I'm not using any slide. So we're going to be talking and interacting in this way. So we say data analysis, right, is the process of generating intelligence from data. All right, so let's take note of that. The first keyword here I want us to take note of is that it is a process. It is not just a task. It is a set of tasks. It is not just an activity. It is a series of activities. All right, series of activities. The end goal is to generate intelligence. The end goal is to generate intelligence. Now, when you talk about intelligence, you're talking about insights. All right, we're talking about propositions, things that you can derive, all right, from a particular premise. And where is that premise? The premise is the data itself. Now, what is data? What is data? You can define data in several forms, but I'll just call data raw facts, right? Raw facts. I think it was Victor that was mentioning when he was trying to give us an example of a store, right? Jumia store or thereabouts. And then he was trying to talk about where he also mentioned that, computer users generate data. Now you can generate data from different sources, right? Data is being generated from different sources. So I call data raw facts, right? Generated from various sources, right? And every one of us here, I will prove it to you that every one of us here, we are all data analysts without even calling ourselves data analysts. All right, every one of us here, we're all data analysts. We all work with data, whether we know it consciously or not. We apply data analysis every day in your decision-making process. Every day in your decision-making process. Say, for instance, those of us who stay in Lagos, Nigeria, you are so familiar with the traffic situation in Lagos, right? Some of the things you want to do is you want to ask yourself, I want to commute from the mainland to the island. I have an event that I must be there before 2 p.m. 2 p.m. What time do you think you would leave your house? Who are those that are from Lagos? Christopher is from Lagos. Maureen is Abuja. Abuja people can relate with what I'm saying. Mary Magdalene, yes, talk to us. You have an event at Ikoyi, yeah? You are in Yaba. Your event is by 2 o'clock. What time do you leave your house? Mary Magdalene, talk to us. Are you on the call, Mary Magdalene?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please, I can hear you now.
Okay, so your question is if I have events by
You have an
2?
event at Ikoyi and you are in Yaba. What time would you leave your house by 2 o'clock?
Okay, I'll leave my house 2 hours before the time
2 hours before the time. Why would you leave 2 hours before the time?
because in Lagos you can't predict traffic. It
Okay, cool.
comes and goes.
Now, it comes as a result of previous knowledge. Prince James, when you talk to us, I see your hand up.
Hi. I wanted to say there is an easy way to answer and there is the extended way of answering. The easy way is what she has done. The extended way is that there are several factors to consider. What day of the week are you having that event? Is it a day that is prone to traffic? Is it a day that is not so prone to traffic when most people are at work? What time of that day do people usually are people usually on the road? Is it a Friday where people close work by 2 and there's a rush hour around 1, 2, 3? Or is it a normal work day like Monday to Thursday where people close around 4? And it takes about towards that time before there's traffic. Are you driving yourself or you're taking public transport? All of these are several considerations that you would want to analyze before you decide what time you leave. So you can't just say 2 hours. You could leave in 2 hours and you're still late, or you leave in 2 hours and you're too early. So
please, can we appreciate him for this extended response? Just appreciate him. Yeah, use the emoji and all that. Thank you very much. Now, this is lovely. All right. Considering several factors before you make that decision. But all of this, just like even Mary Magdalene also said earlier, she will give you 2 hours because she knows that in Lagos, it is better you are too early than you think you will be too early, and then you find yourself on your way to 2 o'clock event, you're still on the road by 4 p.m. Right? Now, but several factors come into play. The time of day, are you commuting there by yourself or are you using a public transport? Where is this event? What are the historical records? Now, all of these things are coming. My point on this is that we are referring to historical records. Historical records. Past records will tell us that once it is 4 p.m., this road is going to be very, very busy. Once it is 4 p.m., this road is usually very busy. So I am not going to be commuting in that environment at that time. I will look for an alternative. All right, guys, give me 1 minute. All right, I need to repack my car for someone to move. Sorry, just give me 1 minute and I'll be back. All right, apologies for the interruption there, but I'm back. All right, so I was talking about historical records. The reasons why you would make the decisions. Please confirm that you all can hear me. Can you still hear me, guys? Can you still hear me? Awesome. All right. The reasons why you would make those decisions is because of historical records, right? Historical records. You're looking at it, there's a historical data that says that by this time there's traffic on this road, by this time of the day or by this day of the week and all of that. Now you would want to make a decision. So every day before you make a decision, you're asking yourself, what is the best way to make this decision? You are carrying out the process of data analysis. Why? You are making comparisons to previous records, historical data, facts. These are not things that can be disputed because they are events that have happened in the past. So you could make reference to those events, right? You could make reference to those events. I was analyzing and trying to predict elections turnout in Nigeria in the last elections, like 2023 elections. And I know historically Nigeria's election performance, that is turnout and participation in elections, is about 35% to 40% participation. All right. So if you know that on the average 35% to 40% participation, and then you have how many million? You have over 25 million persons who are registered voters. Then you just simply say, oh, your projection 40%, right? Give or take 40% on the average are going to be there, and then you'll be able to predict. You say, okay, now for those who are in the elections, electioneering process, you want to cater to all of this because historically this is what it is. That does not mean that it can't happen in another way, but when you look at history, it can really tell you about things that would happen in the future, right? So basically, you deal with raw facts, use that fact to generate intelligence. In business, we call them business intelligence. That is, I give you a sales record, for instance, and I ask you to analyze this sales record. You use that sales record and you're able to tell me the fastest selling products. You're able to tell me the region where some products that is doing more sales than other regions. You will tell me the salesperson that is even doing more sales than every other salesperson. All right. You have all of this intelligence. It helps and guides either supply chain or general business decision making process. Now, the business is going to be deciding, oh, which of these products should we throw in more marketing budget into? Which of these environments, which of these demographic, or which of these regions do we advertise what kind of product? You may find out that from your data, some regions may be doing better in some products, while others may not be doing so well. You want to also find out if the reason why a certain product is selling is because there is a certain season that encourages the sales of that product. So you want to know whether your product is a seasonal product or not a seasonal product. All of this intelligence you can build out of just sales data. All they have given you is sales data. Between 2015 to 2019, this is how we have sold. These are the products sold. These are the quantities sold. These are the amounts. These are their regions. These are their salespersons responsible for those sales and all of that. And you as the analyst looks at this data and you're able to bring out intelligence out of it. The intelligence you are bringing forms like a proposition to the business. Oh, if we do XYZ stuff, this is going to be the resultant effect. If we carry out this action, more marketing here, produce more of this product at this time of the year and all of that, then we'll be able to maximize profits, maximize or even increase our revenue for that particular business, as the case may be. So data analysis encompasses all of this process. Once you move from data to intelligence, that is what data analysis is all about. The tools in between, the processes in between, the steps in between, the skill sets in between, all of them add up to, just at the end of the day, intelligence, insights that you can generate from the data. What kind of story are you able to tell with your data? All right, what kind of story are you able to tell with your data? That is the things, those are the expectations from a data analyst, that you're able to tell a useful story with just raw data, right? I can give you data and it looks very messy and all of that. But the beauty of an analysis is that you take that mess called data and you're able to translate it. Data has several sources, right? You are on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, name them, whatever social media platform you know. Everything you do there, you create an account there, you post a picture there, you like a picture there, you retweet, you comment, you tag, you bookmark, whatever you are doing, all of those clicks that you are having online, they are all data you are generating. Your Google searches and all of that, they are all, you are generating data. You would have observed that when you search for certain stuff on Google, you would see more of those kinds of suggestions come to you. It is an aspect of computing called recommendation system, right? Recommendation system, where you are having a personalized view of your browser. Now, my browser, it is still the same. Let's say both of us were using Google Chrome as our browsers, but we are having different experiences of Google Chrome. Why? Because my searches really determine my interests. Even if I mistakenly clicked on an advert, you know you will see more of those kinds of advert because there is already a recommendation engine that has been built into your application. That is that browser. There's a recommendation engine there that monitors your activities and is able to suggest personalized marketing tools to you. Now, data is huge money to the people who know the usefulness of data. That is why companies, businesses pay millions of dollars to access data from either Google or Facebook or Twitter and the likes. Why? Because it helps them in their marketing. So I once worked with a health company, a health tech company in Sweden. One of the things that they do in there is to build or create or support with data and machine learning algorithms to technology companies or health tech companies that build health-related products or gadgets. Say, for instance, your smartwatches. Your smartwatches these days can take your your heart rate, your pulse rate, and all that, and it can even carry out basic analysis of your health conditions based on the sensors that are there that once it is attached to your skin, it is already collecting data, right? Our job is we want to provide these people with enough intelligence because we have gathered a lot of health data, health-related data from different health organizations, from different hospitals and clinics all around. We've gathered all of these data, we've analyzed them, and we are telling you the kind of product that will sell better in the market space. Products, companies, all those big tech companies that none of them, I repeat, none of them will launch a product that they won't even build the product that they have not analyzed the importance to the user. Now you'll be wondering, but I didn't see, there was no place where I stated to them that I needed this product. And you just see in the market that the product is there. And a lot of people are buying into it. Why? Because they had done their research and analysis even without you knowing it. You are clicking buttons here and there online. You are just giving information and intelligence. Now, those people at the back end, like you or you in the making, a data analyst can pick up these records and you're able to perform certain analysis on them and you're able to tell, okay, this product, again, sometimes you may even give intelligence around when to launch a particular product. Your product can be so good, but if you launch it at the wrong time, it will not do so well in terms of sales. All right, it won't do so well in terms of sales. So what you want to do is you guide the business based on intelligence gathered from data. All right, enough said. Let's talk about the various processes. I talked about process, yeah? That data analysis is not an activity. It's not a task. It's a series of tasks, right? It's a process. It means there are certain steps involved in it. And I'll give us the very 5 basic steps of data analysis. The 5 steps, right? Or call them processes of data analysis. 5 steps of data analysis. Number 1 is data preparation. Data preparation, and I will explain in a bit. Number 2 is, so I can call it data gathering. data gathering slash preparation, or what is known as pipelining. Let me use pipelining instead here. Then number 2 is data cleaning, right? Or preparation. Number 3 is data visualization. Data visualization. Number 4 is data modeling. And number 5 is reporting. Number 5 is reporting, right? Data modeling slash, I'll just call it storytelling or insights generation. Data modeling or insights generation. Now, pipelining. Okay. Now, these are the 5 basic steps. 5 basic steps. I mean, if you consult some texts around this, you may see some variations, but they are all speaking to the same thing. But these are the 5 basic steps involved in data analysis. Data analysis. The very first point in your data analysis process is your data gathering. Your data gathering. Your data gathering is talking about your data sourcing, right? Data sourcing. Where do you get your data from, right? How you get your data, where you get your data, right, is dependent on a very important factor in data analysis, which is on the specification gathering. Now, I will explain what that means. Specification gathering is if you visit a doctor, for instance, you go to the hospital, you visit a doctor. Nobody, I repeat, nobody gets to the hospital and the first thing they do to you is administer some medications to you immediately. No, there is an assessment that happens first. There is an assessment that happens, and those assessments can either happen by interview. They will ask you questions. Oh, how are you feeling? Since when are you feeling this way? During what part of the day do you feel this way? Even if the person is unconscious, they will still ask questions to the people who brought the person. Oh, where did you bring this person from? This act, we can see this person was in an accident, right? Basically, we were trying to assess. Your assessment is to direct you on the next action to take. So the first thing that happens when you pick up a data analysis task or project is that there is an assessment that happens, which is a data, more like specification gathering, right? Specification gathering. Let me write this down. Sourcing based on specification gathering, right? So the task is this. Oh, Stanley, here's what we want to do. We're trying to, I told you before, I work in a financial institution. So here's what we want to do. My boss comes to me this morning and he's like, oh, Stanley, this is what we want to do. We want to see the flow of funds, right? Into the bank. We want to see the flow of funds. We want to know how much is coming into the bank and how much is going out. And those ones that are going out of the bank, we want to know where they are going to. Are they going to other accounts within the bank, or are they going to other competitor banks? And give us, the rankings based on which of these banks have more of the funds going out from us. And then tell us which customers are making these transactions. We want to see those intelligence. We want to see whether we could, whether we're in a good place, or whether we're in a place where we need to increase our effort to retain more of these funds. In a financial institution, retaining funds within the system is a key activity and a key responsibility, right? So that is a task. So I can, if I'm not clear about the task, I can ask some questions, right? Oh, for what periods do you want to see? Oh, I want to see everything that happened from January till date. That is for the past 6 months. All right. For what businesses do you want to see this, or the entire bank data? Oh, I want to see the entire bank's data, but break them down into the various businesses as well. Now, I am asking all of these questions because this is now specification gathering. Specification gathering. Now, after having clarity or gaining clarity from asking all of these questions, the next thing I do is it tells me what kind of data I need. It tells me what kind of data I need. The questions I'm asking is to understand how I'm going to source for the data that I actually need to fulfill that task. There's data everywhere, but you need specific data for a specific ask or request. You will not be using health data to perform sales analysis. No, you want to perform sales analysis, and even on the sales analysis, maybe the goal is revenue generation or increase in revenue, right? If you want to increase revenue and stuff, then it guides you on what kind of data you want to collect. Now that leads us to the next phase of the first process. After you have gathered specifications, now it is time to gather, make a decision on what data is appropriate for this kind of task. Now you ask yourself, does this data exist, or do I need to source for this data externally? Do I need to source for this data externally, or does it already exist within the system? Now, if your data already exists within the system, so you do this, you consult the warehouse, that is the data warehouse, which is typical with a typical warehouse like we know, which is basically for storage, right? Basically for storage. You consult your data warehouse, excuse me, you consult your data warehouse and request for a specific data. Depending on the organization where you work or where you will find yourself, you can double as a data engineer and a data analyst sometimes. And I'll tell you the difference. The data engineer is responsible for that data warehouse. That is, his job is collect this data, assemble them, and place them appropriately in the warehouse. That's the job of the data engineer. Anytime I need the data, I'll place a request to my engineer, and my engineer will retrieve that data in the form that I have specified. Oh, I need this, I need this, I need this to be in the data. I need the customer information, the name, the ID, their location, the date the account was created, the account ID, the balance of that account, the transactions made in that month, the dates of those transactions, the business that this account belongs to, and all those information. I specify that, then my engineer works and gives me this record. Sometimes you don't have the privilege of having a data engineer, so it means you as the analyst, you are expected to retrieve data from the data warehouse. So if you're granted access to the warehouse, you can also retrieve data. We'll talk more about those when we progress in our conversation. So you go to your data warehouse, already this data exists. So when the data exists already, we call them secondary data. We categorize them as secondary data, right? So you request for the data, right? Because the data already exists, you had nothing to do with this data gathering process. It's already there in a repository. By repository, I mean in a warehouse, in a storage, all right? Now, sometimes it may also not be within your organization. You may need to consult an external repository. That is, there are public data sources out there. I will give us some example. If you go to data.gov, this is an example of a data source. If you go to kaggle.com, this is an example of data source. In fact, even from Yahoo Finance, right, is an example. That's for financial data and the like. There are tons of data sources out there you can actually search. And these ones, you can obtain data there for free. You can obtain data there for free. So when we progress in our conversations, I will show you some of the requests that you're going to be having, some of the exercises you're going to be having. You will have to consult some of these platforms and obtain data that you are going to use for your analysis. These are public repositories where you can obtain data and carry out your analysis, right? In data analysis. This is secondary data, accessing an existing data. But let's say the task you want to perform is very unique. Very unique. Unique in the sense that you don't want to use an existing data. You want to gather your own data. For some of us who are into research, or you must have seen some persons reach out to you, say, oh, please, I'm carrying out so research. Kindly help me fill out a questionnaire, right? Oh, you created a form and you're asking people to fill out a questionnaire because you want to carry out a certain research. Some of us said we use SPSS and all that, right? I didn't see anyone who said they use MATLAB here as well for analysis, or maybe somebody here know about MATLAB. But these are some tools that exist, some statistical tools that exist for data analysis as well. But I'll touch more on those when we'll talk about the tools shortly. Now, for every time you have to be the one that curates the data, gathers the data, that category of data is known as primary data. Primary data. Now, this data does not exist somewhere. This data, you are the one that is gathering it by yourself. And by the way, I failed to let you know, in case you have questions or you are not clear about anything that I said, please feel free to call my attention to it. All right. You can either type them on the chat or raise your hand, right? And I will allow you to speak, or you can just unmute your mic and just interrupt me. Feel free to interrupt me if you have any question or you need further clarification about anything that I am saying. Right. So that category of data is known as primary data. You are the one who decides what you want to collect. This is the task. I remember when we were building a product, right, in school. It was a school project and all that, and we needed to do user survey. We wanted to understand the user behavior. We wanted to understand what is most appealing to our users, our intending users. So we wanted to understand whether what we're even solving is problem enough for our users. Because if it is not problem enough, nobody is going to pay for it. But if it is problem enough to a lot of people, then they are going to pay for it. Everything you pay for, you consider it as either a service being rendered to you or a problem being solved for you. Everything you are paying for, right? So if it is something that is not a problem actually to me, it's just like I have black sandals. I don't like brown sandals, and they're coming to market brown sandals to me. You will most probably not get me to buy. Why? Because you are marketing to the wrong person. I don't like brown sandals. I like my sandals being black. Right? So if you market a brown sandal to me, no matter the sweet pitch you use, you won't sell to me. Right? So you want to understand what your users want. You want to understand whether what you're trying to solve is problem enough for them. If it is problem enough for them, I repeat, then they will be willing to pay for it. If it is not problem enough, they won't be willing to pay for it. Say, for instance, oh, you want to come up with a public toilet business, right? Public toilet business, and you're competing with people who are already defecating in the bush. Now, and you tell them, oh, defecate here and pay 15 naira, for those of you in Nigeria, 15 naira per session. And the guy looks at you like, I mean, I'm doing it for free right now. Why are you telling me to do it? Do 15 naira right now. What problem is it solving? But if there is a health-related challenge as a result of public and open defecation that I can see is a problem, and I will gladly pay money to not do open defecation, then you know you are in business. But until then, so we're gathering this data to understand our user behavior and know whether we are solving a problem. We have to curate a form, right? Develop or design a form, an instrument that we're going to use to collect this data. And we distributed it, and we got some responses. And from the responses, we're able to formulate our problem statement and also tweak our idea on the product you are developing. So it is not, what is it called? You don't just sit back and say, oh, I have an idea. No, you need to test your idea. You need to validate your idea. So every time you have to be the one to collect data, that category of data is called primary data. So you, at the first point of your data analysis process, this is your definition or your decision that you ought to make. How do I get the data for this particular task based on the specifications that I have gathered for this data? If my data is going to be secondary data, what source am I getting it from? Is it from my organization or from an external organization? All right. There's an aspect of analysis I'm going to show us later, but that is where you are doing something known as sentiment analysis. Sentiment, from the English word sentiment. How do people perceive a certain subject? How do people perceive a certain subject? Now, say for instance, I want to find, most of you would have seen movie ratings. Yeah, you watch the movie and you say, no, this movie is 2-star, or this movie is 5-star, right? It was because of your experience by watching the movie that made you give it 5-star or 2-star or whatever. That's your sentiment about that movie. Or you go online on Twitter and you just tweet, there was an interesting subject that people tweet about. Okay, women tweet a lot about men as scum. I will laugh about that. Women in the house, in case you are not in those categories, I apologize. But most of the times, women believe that men are scum, right? And then you want to find out women's perspective about men. So I do something called web scraping. That is, I go on Twitter, for instance, which is a public platform where people post public opinions and all of that about certain subjects. And then I gather all the tweets about a particular subject. So everywhere they mention men in the tweet, give me that tweet. Now I'm going to run it through an analytical process and find out whether that sentiment on that post was positive or negative. So do you have a negative perception or a positive perception about men, right? So you do a lot of transformation in your data to get the kind of data you need in that process. Now, that is data that already exists, but you need to extract them. All right, you need to extract them. Such categories of data, you can also categorize them as primary data because it wasn't existing in a repository. You are the one who gathered those that record. You are the one who gathered that data by yourself. Okay, awesome. So let's leave it at that. So after you have made the decision on how you're going to gather your data pipelining is mostly for data engineers, which is more like you are creating from the word pipeline, right? You're creating a funnel from an external source to your repository, right? Maybe say it's from a form, you're collecting the data from a form, or you're collecting it from a website, or you're collecting it from a web application, or you're collecting it from a sensor, if it is a device, and all of that. So you build like a pipeline, right, that siphons data from normal usage of an application down to your warehouse. You as the analyst, your job role does not really cover this aspect. The data engineer covers it. But one of the things that I would always advise people to do is this: have the knowledge of all of these stacks. Have the knowledge of all of these stacks. When you do, it places you at an advantage in the job place, all right, or in the job space. It places you at a huge advantage in the job place. Now, when you have this, what is it called? When you have this advantage of multiple skill sets, you can fit into so many roles. And for most organizations, they are trying to curtail the what they spend, the overhead costs on skill sets, on staff, right? Their staff costs. So if you can perform the job of an analyst and a data engineer, they will rather keep you than go and get a data engineer as well as a data analyst, two different persons that are going to cost them a whole lot more, right? But for some organizations, they love specialization. So they will prefer, okay, no, we need a specialized skill set as a data analyst. We need a specialized skill set as a data engineer, regardless of whatever the organization chooses. But you will be at the advantage if you know more things, all right? If you know more things. Awesome. So that is the first step in the process of data analysis. The second step, and permit me to put it here, the most important. The second step, the most important step in your entire analysis process is data cleaning and preparation. For data analysts with years of experience, they will tell you this. This is also the most stressful, not difficult, but stressful of the entire analysis process. Why do I say so? If most of the times when you go on kegoogle.com, you meet clean, prepared data. So you are not even doing any data cleaning, right? Most of the times when you get data from a lot of public repositories, data.gov, Kaggle, Data Camp, and so many other public repositories as well, you would most probably get very clean data. You're not getting raw data, you're getting cleaned data, transformed data. You just pick those data there and carry out your analysis. In the workplace, it is not like that. You will get messy data. You will get data that when you look at it, you ask yourself, how did they collect this one? It's so dirty, so disorganized. Now, your job is to organize that data. Now, in your data cleaning process, which is data preparation, just like if you're familiar with cooking, cooking has a process. You don't just jump into and start dropping everything everywhere. No, you prepare them. You don't carry your ball of onions and throw it in the pot. No, you slice it, you dice it, right? You don't get your vegetables, your tomatoes, pepper, and the like, and you just throw all of them. So, I mean, if there's somebody here that does that, that's interesting, but I don't think that's how you cook. What do? You prepare them, you dice them, you cut them, you slice them. You are preparing them in a way that it suits what you are about to cook. Right? For some persons, you get your crayfish, you just throw everything inside your pot. For some, you want to grind your crayfish. So all of those processes, you are preparing your data to be in the format that you expect it to for your entire analysis process. Again, sometimes some persons would think of an analyst as an investigator, right? As an FBI agent. Think of an FBI agent, special agent that shows up in a crime scene. You know, one of the things about good agents is that they ask a lot of questions, because from those questions, you are building some kind of intelligence around it. All right? They ask a lot of, they have a very curious mind. And importantly, in the mind of an analyst is the ability to be able to connect dots and visualize even in your mind before you translate them into real life. So from your specification gathering process, you're already thinking about how your visualization will look like. You already thought about what kind of data you would need. You're already thinking about what kind of visualization will bring out the intelligence from those data, right? And then it guides your data cleaning process. I know I need to group this category of data. I know I need to translate this into numbers because I need to perform mathematical operations on them. I need to calculate the sum, maybe the minimum, the maximum, the average, and all that. I need to, so it needs to be in a numerical form. On this other part, this needs to be a date because I want to check, and not just a date that I can extract the month. So I need to put this column or this attributes of data in what is it called? In a date format. Do you understand? In a date format. So all of these things you are doing, you are preparing your data. And in data preparation process or data cleaning process, right? You can even join several tables. In my work daily, I have like tens of tables I am using for one analysis. It means the record I need is existing in one table that is not from the data that I've received. This one that I need is here. This one that I need. So they are all scattered in different places. My job to perform that analysis, I need to consolidate all of them in one place. So I'm carrying out I'll show us how we do that in Excel and other tools. We'll talk about the tools shortly. All right. And then you clean up your data, preparing it in the right format. So simply, data cleaning is just, or data preparation is presenting your data, presenting the data in the appropriate, or permit me to say the most appropriate format. Excuse me. Most appropriate format for your analysis. For the analysis, right? That's basically what you're doing with data cleaning, data preparation. That's all it entails. Now, sometimes we say 80% of the data analysis time, 80% of the data analysis time is spent preparing your data. 80% of your time is spent preparing your data. Why did I say it's the most important part of your data analysis process? If your data is not right, you know that the intelligence you're going to be building is going to be utterly useless and misleading to the business. And I'll tell us of a personal example that happened to me at work. At work, it happened to me, yes. All right. Sometimes it happens, but I'm telling you now so that you don't make the same mistake. Now, I was so tired when I was carrying out an analysis. My reports, they use my report at senior executive levels to make certain important business decisions. So I must not be wrong. Do you understand? I must not be wrong. But it happened that day that, yeah, I was wrong. And I didn't discover it that day. I discovered it when I was doing the next batch of reports. What happened? So I got my transaction data as usual. Okay, I did my, cleaning, preparation, prepared the data, and then I started analyzing. I did my whole analysis. After my analysis, I did my reports, did my visualizations and everything, did my report, presented it to management, and everybody liked it. Everybody was excited. They saw numbers, trillions of naira in transaction. But guess what? That was half-month report that I was preparing. When I was now preparing the full month report, I now discovered that there were duplicates in my data that I did not claim, that I did not take note of. What does that mean? If I had reported 1 trillion naira in transaction, it means, and I had like 1,000 plus duplicates out of almost 18,000 records. I had like 1,000 plus duplicates. That means the transaction value did not get to 1 trillion. But businesses are already excited. Business management is already excited that, we have made a lot of money this month and all of that stuff. Because they can't see this money. Is what your data says. That is what they take at the end of the day. And when I saw that I have goofed on that manner, or in that manner, I had to come clean. I said, boss, there's a problem. They said, what's the problem? I said, sir, I did not, there were duplicates in my half-month data. He said, all right. Just to let you know that is one example of how fatal an error can be if your data cleaning process is not top-notch. All right. Again, I will give you all of my experiences so that you also don't make the same mistake. Right? And I'll tell you what you need to do, some kind of checklist that you would have while you are cleaning your data. All right? Some kind of checklist. Now, let's even take note of the checklist. I'll give you some now, and then we'll talk about more when we start hands-on. Some checklists for data cleaning. Number one, duplicates. Duplicates. In fact, since that day, duplicates have been my number one thing I clean. Once I have my data. That's number one, duplicates. Number two, missing entries. You have your records and some very important columns. They are all, have missing entries or missing data. There's no value there. Everything is just empty. Number three, outliers. I'll talk more about outliers when we start exploring the tools, right? We have outliers. Number four, we have wrong formats, wrong data formats. So a column is supposed to be a date, but it's as a string, right? This other one is supposed to be numbers, but it's as a string. You can't add them and all of this stuff, right? So wrong data formats. And then there are other things that we need to check. But these ones are key. Duplicates, missing entries, outliers, wrong data formats. These are key things we need to check when we are cleaning and preparing our data. And then we move to the next process, which is data visualization, right? Data visualization from the word visual. Now, when I show you an example of a data, you will see how it's not looking very interesting. For most people, it doesn't look very interesting. and all that. And then because of the stakeholders that are going to consume your report, right? You don't want to show your raw data. Your raw data does not make any sense to anybody. What makes sense is when they see what that data is saying. So visualization is pictorial representation of data. Pictorial representation of data. So you start using different charts, right? I think I should just put it here. Pictorial representation of data using charts. There are different charts that exist depending on the tool that you're using. Some popular ones that you might have also heard of, pie charts, bar charts, right? Let me know more of those charts on the chart section. What charts are you familiar with? Respond to me on the charts quickly. I want to give us more, but I need us to also, histogram. Christopher, thank you. Yeah, there's histogram. Tell me more. I need more. There are tons of them. Line chart, yes. Thank you, Emily. Line chart, yes. More. I need more, please. Who else? Scattered plots. Thank you, Tabitha. Scattered plots. Yes, more. There are so many. We should be pouring them like, line graph or line chart. Okay, graph or chart is the same thing. Histogram, yes, somebody have mentioned it. Yes, thank you, Prince. Heat maps. Yes, there are heat maps as well. Right? Any other one? Who else? What can we think of? What else can we think of? What else can we think of? Come on, that cannot be all. Olalekan, talk to us. Pictogram. Okay. Box plots, Tabitha, thank you. Box and violin chart, Oluwagbemi Sola, yes. Pivot table and charts. Okay, pivot table is not a chart, all right? But you can have a pivot chart. Cool. Michael, say pie charts. Pivot table is not a chart. I've said it already, right? We'll talk about more on those ones shortly. But pivot table is not a chart. You can have pivot charts, which is generated from the pivot table, but it's not a chart. All right. So yeah, I see us mentioning many charts that exist, but I'll just give us a few, right? Box and whisker charts. Now you will see some of them when we start out shortly. Yeah, bubbles. Olalekan, thank you. Bubble chart. Box and whisker. Whisker is WH. Right. Thank you. Whisker is WH. Right. A pictorial representation of data using chart. Pie charts, bar charts, box charts, whisker charts, histogram, bar charts, line charts, scattered plot charts. What is it called? Yeah, you can have a combination of these charts as well. Histogram, bar charts. Yeah. What else again? Yes, pie charts. Yes, line charts and all that. So many of them, we'll explore them when we start using these tools. Excel has tons of charts that you can use. Power BI, Tableau, these are visualization tools. They have tons of these charts that you can also use. All right. And then what is it called? Python. You have a lot of Python libraries that also helps you to do data visualization as well. But the important thing about visualization is that it helps you present what your data is actually talking about. It presents what your data is talking about, right? So your visuals is not just there for fun, for fancy. A lot of some of us like fanciful charts and all of that, which is good if you have very good sense of design. That is awesome. But data analysis is beyond the design, is around the insights that you're generating from those charts that you're bringing up. All right, from those charts that you're bringing up. We'll see more of these charts soon. And then data modeling or insights generation. Now, for some persons, this section of data analysis, especially on the modeling part, is not part of data analysis. For some persons, right? To some scholars, data modeling is not part of data analysis. It's mostly around machine learning, where you deal with different models or modeling or creating or training a model and all of that. But when we use data modeling here in data analysis, we are simply looking at a prediction mechanism, right? Remember what I said earlier when I was carrying on the research around electioneering process or election history in Nigeria, and then between 35 to 40% voter turnout. That is at the highest peak, right? 35 to 40%. So worst case scenario, we can't have more than 40% of people turn out at elections. More than 40%. Those politicians, they know what to do with these numbers. Out of 25 million, if you tell me that, oh, out of 25 million, I expect 15 million, right? No, not even up to 15 million. I expect 10 million persons to be at elections during the year, if they're 25 million, right? And then they know, okay, out of this 10 million, how many can I get? How many can I, get? From what part of the country are they? Right? We want to do different kinds of, exercises, right? And I hope you guys are going to be very, very dedicated in this program, such that you will see the beauty of everything that I'm telling you. I can give you election data, and you're just going to do some analysis, do some visualization around election data, and you're able to tell what part of the region that has more voter turnout, and more voter registrations and all of that, right? And stuff. So, but modeling is more like I'm telling you, based on my analysis, that you are expecting 10 to 15 million persons to participate in the elections. So out of your entire votes that you're going to be fighting for is 10 to 15 million. You're not going to have more. So don't think about, if anybody tells you there will be 25 million, there won't be 25 million. You only have 15 million. So it means you have a lesser number of votes to scout for. And as a politician, they know what to do with those numbers, right? So it creates this avenue for predictability, this part, and also insights generation, which is the most interesting thing. Not the most important. I say the most important is your data cleaning as an analyst, but the most interesting thing to your stakeholders are the insights, the intelligence that you are going to be drawing out of your data. What is your data saying? What is your data telling us? This data we are looking at, what does it tell us? What does it tell us as a business? Does it tell us we are doing well, or does it tell us we are doing poorly? Right? Sometimes I do KPI. KPI is key performance indicator analysis, right? I do KPI analysis for my team or for several teams and all of that. And I'm looking at you guys. I'm like, okay, this is your target. These are the things you have achieved, and this is where you are based on all of your stuff. This is what you need to achieve your target by the end of the year. And these are the things that I suggest that you start doing so that you can improve your performance at the end of the month. I'm not just going to give you a report that, this is your target, this is your performance, and this is where you are today. Today you are under, you are underperforming today, and that is who you are, that is what you are. No, my job is not just to give them those numbers. My job is to also give them propositions on how to get to the numbers that they're supposed to be. I know you are 25% off your target. All right, you are 25% off your target. 25% off your target simply means that if you add 25% more effort or 25% ingenuity to your work, you're going to get to your target at least. Or if you want to surmount your target, then we can be looking at 40%, right? So to get that 40%, what do you need to do? I can suggest one or two activities. This is the way you have been approaching customers or clients and all of that. Now, how about thinking about all these other sources? Have you explored these other sources? If you've explored these other sources, how about these other strategies? Think about using these other strategies to also explore your relationship with these customers so you can meet up with some of your targets at the end of the month. Now, it is left for them to make do with your propositions, right? But you know from your analysis, your propositions can work. If they put in the effort with your propositions, it guides them so they are not just shooting blind on the field. Part of my job is to more like give, if you have seen military movies, you know that there are these ones that are in the back office. They are not going on the field. They are the back office. There are other military foot soldiers that are on the field. What are they doing? They are communicating with the back office. The back office guys have access to the drones to that entire environment. With that drone, they're able to see far and wide, and they're able to guide these guys. Hey, enemy territory, 15 meters on your right. Incoming enemy troops, 25 meters ahead of you, northwest. You are giving them pointers so that they will be safe and successful in their mission. So you as the analyst, as a business data analyst that I am, what I do again is give my foot soldiers, who are the people who go on field, interact with customers every day, I give them visibility on what to do. You have been chasing customers. That's not how you chase customers. I need you to have a targeted way of chasing customers. Don't just chase any random person to come and open an account. No, chase this one. This one already has a link to another customer that is in our bank and is already doing some transactions in huge numbers. Follow this person. Once you get this person, these are the amounts you're going to be trapping inside, and it is going to add up to your target. And you work smarter in that particular way. So you provide all of this intelligence to the guys who are on the field, and they're able to carry out their work. I am not interfacing with the customers, but I can tell you the customer behaviors from how they have transacted in their data. All right. Do we have any questions so far? Any question so far? Any questions so far? So businesses look out for insights that you will generate from your data, right? So I said this is the most interesting to your stakeholders. The most interesting to your stakeholders. Because they want to see what your data is talking about, generally, basically. What is your data talking about? This analysis here, this is your beautiful visualization. What can we take out of it? Right? What are you trying to tell us? Are you trying to tell us that we are growing in revenue, we are increasing in revenue, or we are decreasing in revenue? Are you trying to tell us that our overhead expenses, I did some cost, what's it called? Cost value analysis, right? And then you're looking at several regions of the business, of a particular business. Not my current place of work right now, but several regions of a particular business. You're looking at different, manufacturing costs, looking at different operational costs, looking at the revenue generated, and you're able to say, hey, Oga, we are burning money in this region. We are burning money in that region. It has been like this for this number of years, and all of that. It means that more money you pump in there, the more you keep losing the funds. If we shut down this region and pump in those funds or budget into this other region, we're going to make more money. Or this product, we're overshooting and overstocking this product. It is not actually selling in this particular region. This is the product we should focus more of our attention on, because we are spending more money, more marketing money, more personnel money, more acquiring costs that we could actually save. At the end of the day, you reduce overhead expenditure of the business, and you're able to also even increase revenue at the end of the day. So they have more profits at the end of the day. So your job goes across making the life of a business easier, simpler, and they move with more intelligence. They move with more intelligence. Do we have any question? None yet. All right. Then the final part of your data analysis process is reporting. Reporting. I can't overemphasize the importance of reporting. Reporting can be in several formats. It can be in several formats depending on the stakeholder. It can be in several formats depending on the stakeholder you are reporting to. Depending on the stakeholder you are reporting to, right? You can have your reporting templates be just an email that details all of the insights you have generated, right? It could be a dashboard. You can just send a dashboard link and they're able to see the insights from a dashboard, right? It could be a document, proper report document, right? Depending on who your stakeholder is. If it's just your team, if it is top management, if it is clients, you understand? Depending on who your stakeholder is, your reporting takes the form based on who that report is going to. If you're going to your clients, you know the things you want to show your clients. Those are the things you present in your report, right? Your clients may not be a technical person, so you don't show too many technicalities in it. You just show very easy and relatable visualization, and you're using a lot of infographics, right, to tell, okay, this is your chart, and then you're putting some kind of side notes to explain those charts that you are displaying right there. If it is your team, you just want to see a dashboard. Your team looks at the dashboard and they understand. Or you want to give them your data itself. They want to see the data, right? They can look at the data and they can also, because you guys speak technically, right? You can speak the same technical language, but not everybody speaks that technical language. So for non-technical people, you want to do that, and you want to tell very beautiful stories. This is where you want to tell a story with your entire analysis. right? You want to tell a story. You want to say, oh, okay, this is how we started the year. Okay, you can even start from the previous year. So the previous year started in this manner. It progressed in this way. There was revenue growth by so percentage. It continued steadily throughout the year until mid-year where it started declining. And then we saw a spike as well at Q4, that is end of the year. Now in this particular year, you are seeing a similar pattern moving. You are connecting the dots, all right, in that way. And you are saying, for us to avoid the dip that happened in half year of last year, these are some of the measures we need to take so that we can mitigate that dip that happened in half year of last year's report. Why? How can you see that? How can you tell all of those? It's all data. It's in your data. You are looking at it. It's in your report. Your report also carries propositions. Propositions. Propositions are like suggestions on things to do to either improve performance or a general or just a business process. Either you want to reduce overhead costs, you want to increase revenue, you want to increase user adoption, you want to, whatever that goal or objective is, the proposition are like suggestions on things to do. Oh, should we carry out more marketing, or should we think of a new product, or should we target a different demographic, because we can see that the demography of people that are more interested in this product we are selling are of this age grade. So our targeted campaign should go to these people of this age grade, not just everybody. All right, and stuff like that. And that concludes that. Now, your process. Sorry, give me 1 minute again. Sorry, I'm interrupting us. Just give me 1 minute again. Sorry, guys. I mean, there's a lot of interruption whenever a neighbor is trying to move out with their car. I need to go and repark. So I'm actually going out to repark, but I just wanted to let us know. Just stay put and I will resume the record. Once again, I apologize for that. I'm going to eliminate this distraction after today. All right. Thank you very much for your patience with me. Please confirm that you can still hear me. Am I still very audible? Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So those forms the very basic processes of data analysis. Very basic process of data analysis, and again, it doesn't end there, right? It's not, oh, I'm over and done with this. It's a continuous thing. So it's like a cycle, right? You can say, oh, okay, this report is great. Now, however, can we think of this? Then the cycle starts again, right? The cycle starts all over. Okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to add? Where are we thinking about it? Business management can think of a vision. They can have, oh, our vision is to increase our presence in so many states, right? That's our vision, that's our plan. Increase our presence in so many states. And boom, they go on with that. Now, that's all they say to you. You are the one who will figure out how they should do it. They'll just come to tell you, oh, this month, you guys, you must generate not in revenue, in profit, or what we call income. In income, you must generate 3 billion naira in this month. How do you want to do it? It's none of their business. You have received your instruction, so you go and figure it out. So you start analyzing, you do stuff and all of that, and then finally come up with a proposition. I think we should do this, I think we should do that, I think we should do that. And then you give it a try. Sometimes you hit the target, sometimes you're a little bit short of the target, and some other times you can even go above that particular target, depending on how well your analytical process is. go. Just to let us know that the job of a data analyst is very, very important to any business where a data analyst is operating. All right. The next section of what I want to talk to us about is the various tools that we use in data analysis. Tools for data analysis. And I mean, we have mentioned a couple of them already earlier when I had asked for it. All right. Tools. I will only state the ones I'm stating on the board will be the ones we're going to be using during our time together. Okay, the ones I'll state right now on the board are the ones we're going to be using during our time together. However, I am also going to state and acknowledge other tools that are being used today. And I'll tell you why you should focus on some of the tools that we are using in this particular bootcamp. All right. Number one tool, Excel. I'll talk more about it shortly. Excel. Right. Excel is such a powerful tool that I don't think anytime soon whether it is going to be replaced by any other tool. All right. Currently, Excel has over 1 billion monthly active users. 1 billion monthly active users currently. So you have such a large pool of individuals who are using it, and the tools keep on improving with time. This year, in fact, since 2020, I think between 2020 and now, it has been the year or the era of AI. Everybody have heard it. In fact, I'm sure you're tired of even hearing AI. All right, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, DeepSeek, name them, whatever AI tool you have used, Copilot and the likes. These days, scarcely would you have any technological tool that is not incorporating AI into their tools right now, as I speak with you. If you go on Google, before now, you do a normal Google search, you will see ranking of searches. That's what you see, right? But right now, even as I'm talking to you, you can try. Search, in case you have not been observing it. Search on Google. The first result you will see, they will even write it there for you, is the AI-generated result. So I go to Google and I search, what is data analysis? The first response I will see is the AI-generated response first, before you will now see other resources listed like we used to know them before, other web pages that are ranked based on their algorithm. All right. But Excel is such a useful tool, and it keeps on, being improved upon as we progress. You can use Excel. See, I tell people this, and I don't mince words when I say that. If you are so good with Excel, only Excel as a tool for data analysis, it can land you an entry role as a data analyst, right? Or an internship as a data analyst. Very basic first level data analysis role, right? In companies out there, that you can use Excel very well. Very well. You can carry out all of this data analysis process that I have listed from number 1 to 5 using only Excel. All of them, you can do that using only Excel. You can do your data gathering and data sourcing from Excel. You can do your data cleaning and preparation from Excel. You can do your data visualization in Excel. You can create dashboards and all of this stuff in Excel. You can build all of those in it. Everything, you can do that in Excel. So it's such a useful tool. Another tool used for visualization, I'll just put them under visualization. I mean, I just mentioned that Excel is also a tool that can be used for visualization. But another industry standard tool is Power BI and Tableau. Power BI and Tableau. Now, there are so many visualization tools. There is Looker, there is, what is it called? Yeah, I think Looker is by Google. There's ClickUp. So if you Google data visualization tools, you will not exhaust the list. There are so many of them. However, industry standard, you have 2 top tools, Power BI, Tableau. Power BI, Tableau. And during our time together, we're also going to cover Power BI and Tableau during this bootcamp session. All right, we're going to cover Power BI and Tableau during this bootcamp session. Number 3, Python. Yeah, before I write Python, let me first do SQL. Number 3, so let's say SQL. So somebody let me know on the chat, what is the full meaning of SQL? It's an acronym. What does it mean? Somebody let me know on the chat. Full meaning of SQL. Anybody? Anyone? Should I start doing giveaway to motivate us? Standard query language, Prince. Structured query language. Okay, Prince. Now I hope you can remember what S is, right? Structured query language. Query, not queried. Query. So structured query language. So as a matter of fact, is also part of our modules for the bootcamp, structured query language. We'll talk more about it when we get to that part. And we're going to be using, because there are so many database management tools or SQL-based tools that exist. All right, you have PostgreSQL, you have the NoSQL tool these days, you have MongoDB, you have Oracle DB, you have Microsoft SQL Server, and you have MySQL, all right? But what we are going to be using for this bootcamp is MySQL. We're going to be learning MySQL in this bootcamp. And then you have Python. Python is such a robust programming language. Python is such a robust programming language. Very, like, you can use it for tons of things. You use it for web development, mobile app development, do server-side scripting, right? You can use it for software development, and you can also use it for data analysis. Apart from that, you can also use them for other forms of robotics and machine learning processes, right? So it's so robust and so easy to grasp because it's more like everyday English language that you can just pick and learn, right? Compared to so many other programming languages, like the one I started with that I told you earlier. I started with Java. Officially or professionally, I started with Java. But before that, I had studied COBOL, I studied Pascal. I was writing Pascal codes, Fortran codes, Pascal, COBOL, Algol, Basic, QBasic, you know. What else again? Right, Ada is a programming language as well. So I was writing all of those codes before professionally I decided to move on to Java. Yeah, I did C and then I did C++, you know, to a very advanced level before I started off with Java. Then with Java, I got so exposed with a lot of things in there in Java. It's so robust, you know, doing Java. Till date, Java is a programming language used for your Android operating systems, right? Your Android operating systems, Java is a programming language for it. Either you use Java or you use Kotlin to write those codes at the end of the day. So it's so robust and all of that. But Python, my God, is so, I mean, so easy to actually grab once you understand the very basics of programming, all right? So Python is also a very useful tool in data analysis. The first 3, if you capture the first 3, you are in a very solid state or solid foundation on your journey as a data analyst. Python is a great value add as a data analyst. However, it is a good or nice to have for most organizations. But however, it is not a must to have for some organizations. For some organizations, as long as you can do Excel, have 1 or 2 of those visualization tools, and then do SQL, you have to master all of these ones completely. Then Python, yeah, if you have Python, great. But like I will always say, if you have all of this knowledge, it will help you as an individual go higher above other candidates within the job space. The job space is very tough, it's very, very competitive. So you want to give yourself as much edge as possible. They will always go for a candidate that knows that has a very good grasp of Python as well than the one that doesn't have a good grasp of Python. So sometimes it may just be the only differentiating factor between you and another candidate in a job decision. All right. So those are the things we're going to cover in this boot camp. However, there are other tools like others have mentioned, R, SPSS. Those ones are specific just for statistical analysis. They can't do any other thing, any other form of development or stuff, just basic statistical analysis. Every thing you can do with Python in data analysis, you can also do with R. All right. But that is just what R was built for, analysis, just like SPSS, also built for statistical analysis and nothing more. All right, than that. MATLAB, you can also use that for some analysis, right? But mostly for automation. Most times when you are writing code for automation, you want to automate what do you call it, device and stuff. You can also use MATLAB to write some of those codes. But importantly, Python can also do that, write automation codes for you as well. So these are some of the tools for data analysis. What I have listed here on the screen are the ones that we are going to be using during this, during our time together. All right. I believe all of us are on the group chat, or you would have received my email where I sent you the file for today. I would just want us to load that file right now. I want us to load that file because we don't have time anymore. We have just about 5 minutes to wrap up. Tomorrow, we are going to start at exactly 3 p.m. Today, I gave room for, let's wait for some people, give them 5 minutes, give them 10 minutes. No, I will open the classroom as early as 2:30, right? So you can start joining by then. Once it is 3 o'clock on the dot, we will start because we don't have time for sessions like this and we need to move fast. All right, and we need to move fast. So load up that Excel file that I had shared with you guys earlier. I'm going to just share that screen now. Just load up that file. That is where I will introduce it. Just give you a view on this environment. For some of us that are seeing the Excel environment for the first time, I will just give you a basic introduction to it. But from tomorrow, we're going to work deeply with this tool. All right, we're going to work deeply with this tool. Any question? Any question? If you have your Excel loaded, can I just see you use an emoji to just show that? Give me a thumbs up or use the raise hand emoji. Let me know if you have your Excel loaded. I know some of you are connecting or are on this call via your mobile devices. I had advised that you use your PC or your laptop. Some persons have told me that they don't have a PC right now or their PCs are bad right now. But please, as soon as you can, get a PC. All right. I told us before when I started my own programming journey, I didn't have a laptop. I was writing my codes on paper. And what I do is I now go to the school computer lab whenever I have time because it's very scarce. There are few computers there. And, when it gets to my turn to use it, that's what I do. So I start practicing all of those codes I've been writing on paper. I start writing them on my computer, on my school's computer screen there. And I practice. So you can think of anything you can do, but get a laptop that you can use to practice is very, very important. All right. The key to success, again, I have mentioned earlier, is that you have practice time. You practice and you practice and you practice. I have seen just one hand give me a thumbs up that they have their Excel loaded already. The rest of us, what's going on? 2 now. I've seen 2. At least I should have 70% of the class all set and ready. Yeah, Christopher, I've seen you earlier. Christopher, Olalekan, only 2 persons, really? What's going on? 3 persons, Memisola. Yeah, 4, Mary Magdalene. Any other person? Any other person? Again, these are the distinguishing factors, yeah? These are the distinguishing factors between, okay, Tabitha here, Oluwatosin, okay, yeah? There are these distinguishing factors between the person who gains a lot from a program and the person who doesn't gain a lot from a program. All right, so I need you to be as involved as you can. Be as involved as you can. All right, let's proceed. So if you have that, you should have seen my screen already right now. You can see my screen. Let me first explain just introduce you to this environment, all right, or what I would call the window, the Excel window or the Excel environment. Basically, when you load up your Excel, this is what you see, right? This is hold on. Right. This is what you see when you load up your Excel. I'll start from the very top, because I'll be referring to these things going forward by their names. So that when I'm asking you, oh, look at your status bar, you know what I mean by that. So at the very top here is a bar, this green bar at the very top where you see my mouse hovering on, right? This topmost bar here is called your title bar. Your title bar. So on your title bar, of course, you can see the title of the file here, and you can see other information. These are shortcuts that you can also add. You can customize yours as well. And by the way, I'm using Excel 2019, right? I'm using Excel 2019. If you have Microsoft installed on your PC, you should be able to have Excel as well. All right, you have Microsoft package installed on your PC, you should have Excel installed. For some of us, you might be using an older version, right? Or you are using an online version and stuff. Whatever it is, you have a similar environment. All right, the very first bar here is called what? The title bar. The title bar, right? There are other information on the title bar, but that's the name, title bar. Basically, just displays the title of the file, right? The next bar here, that where you can see file, home, insert, page layout, formulas, data, that's called your formula bar. Sorry, your menu bar, your menu bar. It's called your menu bar. All right, it's called your menu bar. Now, just like a menu, it has items, and each of these items represents certain actions. So right here, what is activated has a green underscore on it. So home is activated here. So we can see all the actions that we can perform on the home menu. We'll carry out all of this stuff once we start, using the tool, just to introduce that. All the actions on the home menu. When I click on the insert menu, right, you'll be able to see all the actions as well on the insert menu. If you click on page layout, you will see all the actions on the page layout menu as well. That bar is called your menu bar. When you click on file, it brings up a dialog box like this, where you either open a new file, that's create a new Excel file, or open an existing Excel file and other information in here, like you see them here. All right. When you click on the file menu option or the file button, right. The next bar just below the menu bar is your formula bar or your address bar. Your formula bar or your address bar. When we start talking about some of these functions, you will see the usefulness of this formula bar. All right, that is what it is called. Address. It is giving us, look at here, this at the left hand side here. You will see this thing here called E12. It is telling us which cell on the Excel window is highlighted, right? Which cell is highlighted? E12. How is Excel structured? Excel is structured in rows and columns. Rows and columns. That is, these are the columns in alphabets. A, B, C, D, right? These are the columns. Columns are the vertical representation, right? Columns, vertical. Rows, horizontal. Your rows are demarcated in numbers. Rows demarcated in numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, The only limitation Excel has as a tool is that it has limits to the number of records that it can contain. And that is about 1 million and almost 1.1 million records. So if your data set is larger than 1.1 million, then you will be using other tools, or you will break your data into several sheets. You break your data into several sheets. So the way you navigate through the cells are all of these boxes that are inside, in these windows. Yeah, this particular, those boxes inside, that's the cell. It is called a cell. Now, this cell is identified by the column and the row name. Each cell is identified by the column and the row name. Column first, then row second. So where I am highlighting is A1. That is, it is on column A and row 1. That is why it is called A1. Olaliko, yes. Of course, nothing can be God. All right. That's just the limitation, just the number of records it can contain. All right. Now, if I move away from that point, I have highlighted another cell. Look at your address bar here. It is now showing you F5. It is telling you you have selected the cell F5. That is column F, row 5. So when I am telling you, oh, look at column J, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this column. I say, oh, look at column F. Oh, look at row 10. You know I am referring to this. All right? So please, let's take note of all these nomenclatures. They are very, very important. Very, very important. Okay? Now, I can also select multiple cells together. Now, take a look at as I'm selecting the cells, look at what is happening on the address bar before I leave my cursor. Right? If I leave my cursor, it just goes back to C2, which is the first cell in my selection, right? But as I'm hovering, as I'm moving, my cursor is still pressed down as I'm moving. Look at the address bar. It is telling you 7R4C. 7R4C. What does that mean? You have selected 7 rows and 4 columns. 7 rows and 4 columns. That's what you have selected, right? So your address bar just tells you, it helps you to keep a track of where you are on your Excel workplace, All right. The next bar down here in Excel, the next bar down here, all right, it is called your tab, your sheet title bar. Your sheet title bar. So the Excel tool, right? Everybody listen up, please. Please listen up. Your Excel tool is called a workbook. It's called a workbook. I have a book here, right? This is your Excel tool. It's called a workbook. Yeah? The various pages, a book is made up of several pages, right? The various pages here, which are made up of different sheets. So it is one book, but can have multiple sheets. Excel is one workbook, but can have multiple sheets. What you see down here are different sheets. So when I click on this is a different sheet, and there are other sheets here, right? And how do you add, if you want to add a new sheet, you see this plus button on this side here. Once you click on it, you can add a new sheet. By default, it just gives you sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, but you can name it whatever you like by double clicking on it and renaming it to whatever you choose. Either you double click on it or you right click and select rename. They will still do the same thing. All right. And then finally, the last bar here on the Excel window, is called your status bar. Status. It's called your status bar. The last bar here is called your status bar. Just like the word status. Status simply means the current state of that what that document is, or what you have highlighted or selected. You can have very useful information on your status bar. Say, for instance, these are numbers here. If I highlight all of these numbers, look at my status bar. It is already giving me some calculations. It's telling me the average of what I've selected is this, 48,555.555556, right? The count, that is the number of cells I've selected, they are 9, and their sum is 437,000. Even without using any formula, I can see very basic information on my status bar, right? On my status bar. It can also give you some other things like the word count and stuff. And I mean, You can also adjust your zoom in and zoom out, right? Using your slider buttons in that regard. Okay, any question? This is what we're going to stop for today. Any question? Or give me feedback. Any question or feedback? I'll call on a few persons to give us feedback. If nobody's volunteering to give us a feedback. How did you feel about today's session? Tabitha, how did you feel about today's session?
Good evening, everybody. Well, I would say I felt really, really good and excited. I was really, really anticipating a bootcamp like this, and I'm glad it met with my expectations, not below my expectations. And I want to say well done to you, sir. Thank you for curating a bootcamp like this. And I learned a lot also.
Sure, you're welcome. Let me see. Olaleko, talk to us. Your take home feedback.
Excuse me. I hope I can be heard. Good evening, everybody, and good evening, Coach Stanley.
Good evening.
For me, it might be funny, but on the lighter note, for the first time, I felt I'd just been so useless having Microsoft 2021, and so my coach is using 2019, and it's so great. I felt like I had so much tools and I could not do much. Okay, then secondly, I really anticipated a good class. To be fair, maybe not at beginner level on these things, maybe a little better, but I'm still really, I saw from today's class that my journey into data analysis is really, really still far, and I'm really open to learning. And on this platform, I love the way you're taking the class. More power to your elbow. And I definitely will be back again. Thank you so much.
Awesome. That's good to know. So again, I know we can take other feedback before we leave and all that, but very important. Tomorrow, like I said, the classroom is going to be open at 2:30. So you can start joining from 2:30, and we're going to start immediately at 3 p.m. Immediately at 3 p.m. We are not going to waste any time. All right, we're not going to waste any time. This is where we're going to pick up from this tool. So please try as much as you can, get yourself ready. If you have to borrow a laptop and just use it. We have 2 hours. Borrow it from your friend that used theirs for movies and all of that. Okay, just borrow it. Beg them, borrow it. Tell them when you blow, you will remember them. All right. So, but most importantly, get yourself prepared for tomorrow's session. We're going to start full hands-on, all right, from tomorrow. Okay. We'll go through all of these various formulas in Excel. And again, there are tons of formulas in Excel. You can't finish exhausting them. But we'll take the important ones for our journey as we're starting. We'll take the important ones and we'll keep on adding to them as we progress. All right. I'll keep on adding to them as we progress. So please take note of that. I'll provide more information about the entire boot camp tomorrow at tomorrow's session. Okay. So I look forward to having you guys there. I am going to, once the recording is done processing, I'm going to share the link on the group chat so that we can also have them for reference purposes. All right. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Maureen, for helping us as well coordinate our session. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget, start joining from 2:30, 3 p.m. on the dot. We kick off. We'll take 2 hours and we are done. We'll have exercises. So if I were you, I can watch this video again, or I can just, go through my notes just to refresh my mind. Again, practice. This is the point where I leave you guys for today. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So I dance like the wind. I stay